Hi mateys, I've decided to do a little bit of upgrade on my DC panel. I got a new one about 4 years ago, and I thought I got one that was big enough to handle everything. But you know, the more things we put on our boat, the more power we need, or at least a distribution of it. I don't like to put wire a lot of things direct to the battery, and I know you can, but for example, my new diesel heater. Okay, if that were wired direct to the battery, I wouldn't be able to shut the power off. And on the thermostat, the controls, that's on all the time. So it's drawing battery power. By having it on a breaker, I can shut that off. And I just find it more comforting to know that I have control over what's on and what's off. So I got a new distribution panel from Paneltronics. I'm using them. And my original panel is with Paneltronics. And this is just going to fit right on top there. So one of the most difficult things to do about this whole project was figure out where this is going to fit. And some of you may have that same issue on your boat. You may want to put another panel, you're not sure where it's going to go. Well, by doing a extension or a sub panel, you can put it just about anywhere. I made a list of the breakers that I was going to need. Then I went to the Paneltronics website, and when you do that, under products, you'll see power distribution. Then you have deluxe and premier and standard. Now standard is, they've already got like a couple of 5s, a 10, a 15 amp breaker in there. But if you go to the deluxe, scroll down, find the panel you want. And I use the 2204, which is the 8 position. You see here, you can customize this panel. When you click that on, then you'll get the page here. Some basic information on the top. I didn't touch any of that. But down below here, where you'll see the position, number 1, all right, you click what amp you need. Then the label, click this little red box. Put in, I'm just going to put anything in for right now. Submit. And it gives you a list of choices of how you want that labeled. So when you get the panel, you've got the right breakers, the right amperage, and it's already labeled for you. Let me go back here. You can also, on this, you'll see there's the technical information, there's a wiring diagram, so the website gives you a lot of great information. And then after you pick everything, you get it lined up what you want, hit the submit button. I forget how long it took. It didn't take long, I think another hour or something. I got an email with what the price would be, and there's probably about a 3 to 5 day production time on this, because remember, they're making this panel for you, and when you get it, it's really easy to install. I've got the wiring diagrams for it and everything. So I've set up the, I printed off the template to cut it. I'm going to cut that in a little bit. Got my oscillating saw for that. And when I open the panel to get in there and cut, I'll lay a drop cloth down. But before I do that, I want to check and make sure that the battery power, or any power, is off to that panel before I start working. A couple other tools that I'm going to be using. Of course, I'm going to be hooking things up, so I need a good ratcheting crimpers. I'm going to need some battery cable. Look at these guys. Now, when I hook that up, there's a couple of things here. Where do you put the wires? How do you power the new panel? So I talked to a couple of the electricians I know, ABYC guys, and here on this diagram you'll see I got an A and a B. I could have put a C down here too, down in this area. Well, if you wire it from the A position, you're bypassing the breaker and your sub panel is always going to be hot. What each of those guys recommended was in the B position is where I should take the power from and then bring it up to the sub panel. And I need enough cable to be able to pull that panel down or pull the other panel down without putting stress on those. Now, to get the right length of cable, I just took a piece of rope about the size of the cable, and I used that and moved it to where I needed to be and left another couple of inches. And I did that because trying to get the electrical or the measuring tape in there, you know, it's all crinkly, it's not going to be accurate. So I just got that length and then measured that. Another important thing is all the cables should be the same length. And I'm not going to get into all the technical reasons for that, but they should be the same length. All right, guys, I got the hole cut. Now, let's see if this is going to fit. Oh, look at that. It's going to work. It's going to work. Now, while I have this out, I want to show you something on the back of this panel. Now, I'm going to connect my hot wire here and my DC negative here. This blue wire is for the lights behind here. So this is going to get hooked up down onto my main panel here. And looking at that block, it's going to need a spade connector. So I'll pick up some blue wire, the same thickness as this, and run that down and connect it to there. But now let's go ahead and I'm going to clean up and then we'll start hooking this in. Now when you get ready to prepare your jumper cables here, be careful when you strip this back that you don't cut into the little wires in that. Every one you lose, you're just losing efficiency. You don't want to cut it too long. I'm going to trim it just long enough to fit into the connector here. And I want to be very careful, as I said, not to cut into the wires. What I'm going to do to try to help this a little bit, just kind of hold that in place. Get my cable in here. Nice and, oh, I got one. See, I've got a couple sticking out. You don't want that. You want them all tucked in there nice. And then crimp it. There we go. I've got a good crimp on that. I'm going to put the liquid tape on. The other thing too is you don't want to get stuff on the part where it's going to connect to the panel. You want to have a good solid connection there. So I'll let this dry a couple minutes, add some more to it, and do the other cables. Well, I got the hole cut for the new panel. Got my power off here. I'm going to hook up my positive and negative from the original panel and then run the jumper cable up to the new panel. Well, now I have my sub panel powered from the main panel, my positive lead here, my negative lead. Now all I need to do is hook up my appliances and items to the breakers. So of course the negative is going to go on the negative bus bar, and the positive goes on the opposite side of the positive bus bar, or else it's always going to be powered. If you powered it here, if you put it here, it would always be powered. Put it over here, then you can shut it on and off, and that's also when you'll get your amber light that there's energy to that. So until next time, guys, happy and safe boating to you, your family, and friends.